Are you struggling with losing weight? Are you one of the hundreds of thousands that go on diets every single year only to fail? So how can you turn it around? Welcome to my video. I want to share with you what I have learned over the course of my journey. Now, for those that don't know my channel, I had, at one point a few years ago, I had cancer. So I had triple negative breast cancer, stage 3. It was difficult. The treatment was difficult, the chemo, and the steroids and everything they had to give me, because I was somewhat allergic to the medication, so they had to double down on everything. Even though I wasn't eating, like, they literally had to give me medication to stimulate my appetite. I did not want to eat. I was losing muscle mass. I was losing just tone. And it was difficult because I was ballooning. And I mean, I'm a small stature, 5'3", and I was north of 200 pounds during my chemo and after my chemo from all the steroids and the chemo. And this was a very, very difficult thing to come back from, because, and cancer's different for everybody. Treatment is different for everybody. One cancer is not like another cancer. So there will be some that will fly through chemo because their chemo, when we hear the word chemo, we think of one really strong drug. Well, that's not necessarily the case. It all depends on the type and the stage that you have as to what protocol that the oncologist will put you on. And some protocols are more difficult than others. The protocol I was on was called ACT. And if you've ever heard of the Red Devil, that's what I was on. When I came through my chemo, it was difficult because I had all this weight on me from the steroids. And 3.5 years before that, I was on high dose steroids because of my autoimmune. So I was taking 60 milligrams of steroids every day for 3.5 years for a disease that they told me I had that I didn't actually have. Or maybe I do have it, maybe it just didn't test out. I do not know. All the signs and symptoms were there. So, you know, you go on a diet. Most people go on a diet to lose weight. Some go on a diet to eat healthier. And I think that's where we need to be. We need to say, I'm gonna go on a lifestyle change. So I'm gonna change the way I'm eating. Don't even say lifestyle, just I'm gonna change the way I'm eating. I'm gonna try to do better on most days than I did the day before. I've already talked about this in another video. When you go on a change and you're trying to do better, sometimes you're confused as to where you need to start. I mean, what diet do I need to go on? Do I need to take in consideration my body shape, my blood type? There's all kinds of strange things out there. I can tell you this, when I decided to go on a diet, when I came off chemo, and I knew I needed to lose probably 50 or 60 pounds, I didn't know where to go. So I didn't know which direction. Should I eat meat? Should I not eat meat? Do I need to go on, a keto diet? And I did try keto. I'm gonna tell you, I tried keto. And I lost 30 pounds like that. But, caveat, I was paying attention to my lab numbers because I was coming down off chemo. They were taking a look at my lab numbers quite closely. So I had blood drawn frequently. I noticed that things like triglycerides, cholesterol, all that, they were going up quickly. And I was eating a lean or a clean keto. I wasn't eating the bacon, the sausage, and the fatty meats. That was a start, right? And then I decided, no, I can't do this. Keto was developed for epileptic children that could not and did not respond to medication. They just didn't. And it was kind of a Hail Mary that the scientists created it because of the fat content to try to reduce the seizures in the brain. And it worked. That was a good thing. But people developed this and they went on this because they saw a secondary effect to this was kind of weight loss. So some genius decided, hey, let's just move keto over in a weight loss fashion and we'll promote it that way. Like a secondary, here's what you can do. And it got very, very popular very, very quickly. But I didn't want my numbers that high because I knew that with the chemo and the radiation, my heart most likely took a hit because it was, the large tumor was on the left side of my breast and it had already meted to all my nodes under my arm in my axillary region. So I didn't want to do that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go on a whole food plant-based diet. So I researched it, I started doing it, and within 4 months, it was 40-pound loss. It was incredible. I felt wonderful. I felt great. And, you know, we talk about these things and we talk about diets and we're like, yeah, we feel wonderful. Well, who wouldn't feel wonderful dropping 40 pounds? I mean, your knees wouldn't hurt as much, your back wouldn't hurt as much, you wouldn't be probably as winded, you would have more energy for the most part. So there's that to consider. I'm not going to tell you which diet to go on. That is completely up to you. You can go on a Mediterranean diet, which is really the grandmother of all diets, okay? It is the most sustainable diet there probably is that's out there. And I think the Mediterranean diet, if you look at it, it looks like a flexitarian diet, meaning you go heavy on the vegetables and the fruits, but you have meats. But you still use things like butter and cream and olive oil, which all can have benefits. They can all have health benefits. So it's kind of a personal thing, and you're just going to have to research some of the diets. Find out what you think you can do. Because remember, you're not going on a diet, you're going on a lifestyle change, a change. You're going to change the way you eat. You're going to change your habits because it's all about habit. The cookies in the middle of the night, the glass of milk, the whatever it is, Hot Pockets, chicken pot pies, you know, the candy bars, the high caffeinated drinks, all of those are habit. We get in these habits. And so now we have to break that cycle. We have to break that habit. So how do you do that? How do you construct a meal to lose weight? Well, when I went on a whole food plant-based diet the first time, it was quick, it was easy, the weight just fell off. However, when I developed in 2023 I don't know why. I'm guessing probably chemo and radiation had something to do with it. My heart had taken a hit. I developed AFib. And then the medication wasn't working. So I had to go in for a surgery. And when they went in for a surgery, I had never had A-flutter, but during the surgery, they threw me into A-flutter while they were burning the one region of my heart that was conducive to creating the AFib, the one chamber, and then they had to go over and burn the other chamber. So they burned me 150 times, which I didn't know at the time. I didn't know I went into A-flutter. The doctor didn't stop by and talk to me and tell me I went into A-flutter and tachycardia on the table. I had no clue. You know when I found out? When I read the notes from the hospital, when I was able to get into my patient portal. And my eyes just dropped because I went into the hospital 2-3 days later. I couldn't breathe. I was having a horrible time from the time of my surgery. Like 72 hours later, I was back in the ER. And the doctor pulled up the chair and she goes, Alicia, I looked at your surgery. She goes, you took a huge hit to your heart. I go, what are you talking about? And she goes, you were burned over 150 times. That is a lot. So, you know, all my blood work as far as my heart enzymes and everything showing damage were just, they were incredibly high. And she said, and we know why you can't breathe. She said, you have triple pneumonia in your right lung. All 3 lobes are moderately filled with pneumonia, and you have fluid around your heart and both lungs. So we know why you can't breathe. So we're gonna keep you, and we're gonna work on, you know, getting some medications that can kind of reduce those things. And of course, my doctor, he had done the surgery and gone out of town for 3 weeks, like out of the country. So he was not even there to come by, and I'm not sure I would have wanted him there, honestly, because he didn't tell me. Like, I didn't understand why I was the first one. I was his first case that morning, and I was the last one to go home. Like, I was on the table at he was operating at 7 a.m. And I didn't go home till 4:30, and they literally pushed me out. They're like, if we can't, you know, a friend of mine took me and he said, Alicia, they were fixing to keep you because you weren't really waking up and responding. And so they're like, if she doesn't get up and respond, we're going to have to keep her. I got back and I'm like, what do I do? I mean, I was gaining weight. Now I had this heart issue. I was having palpitations, tachycardia. I was having dizziness, lightheadedness. Every time I went from a laying, sitting, or a standing position, my blood pressure would do strange things. And I had all these things come up, and then my legs and my feet just, for whatever reason, after the surgery, it was like someone poured kerosene on them and just lit a match. And that's how they felt the entire time. There was no relief. There was none. Pain pills did not even help. So I'm like, I was struggling, and so I thought, okay, I'm going to go on a whole food, plant-based diet again. I'm going to try to get my heart healthy again. And then now that I had the heart issue, I cut out nuts, seeds, and oils. I struggled. Literally, you have fruits and vegetables. and soy. Literally. Like, that's what you have to eat. So I just struggled. I wasn't losing weight. I couldn't exercise because of my feet and my legs, which I'm still having issues with daily. And I'm really not sure how to fix it, correct it. I don't know what it's from. All I know is it hit after the surgery. I had trouble with things to make. Like, I was not doing well. And then I went into that whole fast food thing because I was so ill. I couldn't stand and cook anything. I couldn't put anything together in the kitchen. It was all I could do to get in the car and literally go around the corner to McDonald's, Brahms, whatever was closest. And for some of you that know, during this time, I was literally just packed out of my house. So I had, I had a weather-related issue with the house, and they came in and they just packed all my stuff. They moved everything out into storage, and I was in an Airbnb. So here I was in an Airbnb with none of my cooking stuff, with none of anything, and I got into this rut of fast food. And it was just putting the weight on me, putting the weight on me, putting the weight on me. And I can't even, so when they packed me back in, they did such a horrible job, and they were putting my stuff in places where I couldn't even find it. I just told them 3/4 of the way through, stop. Do not open any more boxes, because they were not helping me. I don't even know where my scale is. So I don't even know how much I weigh. Like, and I can't go through all these boxes. It's not like I can stand on my feet and unpack all these boxes, put everything away. I just don't have that kind of energy right now. Because I'm still having heart issues in my legs and my feet. So I struggled once again. So I decided, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on a change. I don't know if it's going to be whole food plant-based, but I'm going to try to incorporate more vegetables, more nuts. And I added nuts, I added seeds, and occasionally I'll do meat. Like, I know I'm probably anemic because I'm feeling it, and so I bought some liver, and I'll saute the liver in a pan with broth. I won't do anything else. I won't coat it. I won't bread it. I won't do anything. It'll just be sauteed liver and onions. And I'll do that probably once a week to try to get my numbers up and see if that helps. But I'm increasing my things like superfoods, spinach, kale, some seeds and nuts. I'm actually doing some protein shakes that I'm making. And, here's the deal. None of us know what's really good, really. The less ingredients, the better. We know that. The things you can pronounce and understand, the better. When we get into all the color, red number this and yellow number this and MSG and all the stuff that they put into it, all of the artificial sugars and everything that's not good for us. We need to eat things that are less processed. The stoplight, again, less processed. We have yellow, red, and green, right? Green is good. That's the least processed stuff. So your fruits, your vegetables, they're just, you buy them, you wash them, you put them on your plate. You do a light steam or a saute or maybe a roast or something like that, you put it on your plate, right? You put it in the air fryer, you put it in the oven, and it's on your plate. So those are all green things, and seasonings are green. So if you season, all of those seasonings have benefit: oregano, rosemary, basil, parsley. Parsley is full of iron. And I just use the dried parsley and the fresh parsley like crazy. I love it. I use it instead of cilantro in most of my dishes. And so you just have to pick what you like. You have to pick what you think you can handle. Put one foot in front of the other. It's one step at a time, step by step. But drink more water. Try to get out and get some steps in. I don't care if it's going to a mall, and I know no one goes to malls anymore. Go to a mall or go to a shopping center and just walk and window shop as you're walking. You know? Do whatever you can do to get more steps in. Go to the home improvement center, walk up and down the aisles. Go to the grocery store. Instead of getting your groceries delivered, walk up and down the aisles. Do it 2 or 3 times. When you go from one side of the store to the other side of the store 2 or 3 times, you're getting some steps in. You can do those things. And you're like, oh, well, Alicia, walking, yeah, that's not going to burn. It's not going to burn. It burns calories. Depending on what your body needs, so you have a basal metabolic rate, and that rate is according to your height, your weight, your age. That rate is what it takes, your cellular processes every day for 24 hours, what calories it takes to meet those requirements. So mine's right at 1,300. So I know that, yeah, I guess if I wanted to lose weight and really restrict myself, I could go on a 1,200 calorie diet, but that wouldn't be good for me. It would be completely restrictive. And I'm not even looking at what the calories are. I'm looking at what the plate looks like. I will get into how to construct, maybe you're still going, well, I just don't know where to start. Number one, I want you to start with, okay, what changes do I need to make? I need to cut the ice cream down. I need to cut the cakes down. I need to cut the drive-thrus down, whatever it might be. Are you a stress eater? Look at yourself, journal, be honest with yourself. Start there. Once you get to that point, then start learning how to construct your meals to where you're full and satisfied and you're meeting all your nutritional requirements. Let me just tell you, cans of protein, like Ensure Max. Have you looked at the ingredients that are in there? Have you looked at the ingredients? They're horrible. You're better off getting a protein, getting a, whatever you do. If it's a Vitamix, if it's a Ninja, I have a little NutriBullet that I use for my shakes. It's perfect. It's not a huge cleanup, and it's fast, and it does the job. I put fresh fruits for my sugar, so I'm getting those benefits of berries, strawberries, kiwi, blueberry. I put banana, So those are kind of the fruits. You can put apple. Those are kind of the fruits you can do. For something that's cold, like I just have to have something to snack on. And especially at summer when it's hot and you're wanting something cold, I cut up apple. I put it in a little Ziploc bag. I put cinnamon in it. I put it in the refrigerator, and there it is, right there. It's a small snack. I can bring it out. I can eat 2 or 3 little slices, and I'm good. Instead of going to your chips, your hot, whatever you go to, whatever your go-to is right now. Those are the kind of changes that you're going to have to make, and it's not going to come all overnight. You're going to have to decide, okay, do I want to eat meat? Do I not want to eat meat? I'm not going to tell you what diet to go on. I will tell you, you need to listen to your body. And if you're craving something, chances are you need that. There's kind of a couple of exceptions to this rule. Number 1 is sugar. Number 2 is nicotine. Number 3 is caffeine. We all know those are addictions. So if you're craving those things, that doesn't mean to put them back in your diet or your daily habit. We need to get rid of those things as much as possible. The highly processed foods, the cakes, the candies, the cookies, the muffins. So that's kind of where you start. Number 1, why? How are you screwing up today? Like, what does your diet look like today, and what do you want it to look like? Write it down. 2, how can I get there? 3, stoplight. Red, yellow, green. That's it. Start there. Put one foot in front of the other. Allow yourself the grace to have a bad day. But the next day, get back on it. Until next time.